Council, come to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mandy, would you please call the roll?
Here.
Randall.
Here.
Butler.
Yes, here.
Hopkins.
Here.
Australia.
Here.
Carlstone is absent.
The City Council has adopted a code of civility. As elected officials, we pledge to promote civility through extending respect to others, listening to understand, disagreeing without disrespect, engaging collaboratively, and speaking up to address incivility. And as a reminder, this meeting is being recorded and broadcasted for Pella TV, so anyone who speaks to council, we need you to approach that microphone at that podium before speaking so those listening at home can hear your comments and see you on camera. Can I get a motion for approval of the tentative agenda?
So moved.
Support.
Randall, Horsford, Stryland, any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Randall.
Yes.
Australia.
Yes.
DeYoung.
Yes.
Butler.
Yes.
Hopkins.
Yes. Motion passed. At this time, we have an opportunity for public forum. Anyone wishing to address council regarding an agenda item, please step forward to that microphone, state your name and address, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Seeing none, we'll move on. Motion, can I get a motion for approval of the consent agenda?
So moved.
Support.
And Stryland, DeYoung, any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Australia.
Yes.
DeYoung.
Yes.
Randall.
Yes.
Butler.
Yes.
Hopkins.
Yes.
Motion passed. We'll move into a public hearing on the Pella Public Library 2020-25 HVAC modifications Phase 1 project. Mike.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd be happy to explain this item for those in attendance and those watching at home on Pella Fiber. I'd like to direct your attention to the big board for a brief presentation on this item. As Mayor Ward stated, what the purpose of this public hearing is to discuss improvements or repairs to the library's HVAC system, and specifically what this resolution would do would improve plans and specifications to form a contract. It ultimately awards the contract for the project on it. It is important to note that we did conduct a bid letting on August 5th. We received 2 bids on the project. Unfortunately, the low bidder for the project, Excel Mechanical, in the amount of $243,500, was below the engineer's estimate of $280,000. Now, the engineer on the project is Mainstream Tim, and they are recommending awarding the project to Excel Mechanical as they are the lowest responsible bidder. This resolution will be approved by council this evening. We anticipate final completion of the project would be on April 30th of 2026. And finally, Mr. Mayor, it is important to note that the city staff is recommending approval as well this evening.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Any written comments, Mandy?
No written comments.
Council, any comments? Any member of the audience have a comment?
Dwight Young, 2509 Scottish Drive. How old is the library?
Built in 97.
99. They completed it in 2000.
Yeah.
And what's the nature of the problem there that we have to spend $250,000 on it?
Yeah, we've been having issues with the HVAC. Tina, would you be able to address the question as far as the issues with the HVAC system, please?
Yes, from what I understand, I came in after this was started, but there has been some problems with the air conditioning overall. We've had probably 3 repair calls since I started here in January. So it just needs a major upgrade, unfortunately. But the library is 25 years old and this is still the original system.
Was this a design problem or a maintenance problem?
It's an old system, so it just needs upgrading. And right now, because of some environmental legislations, This is the course of action we need to take because if we were to go with a completely new system, then we would have to replace the Freon. And the environmental laws in place currently would make this even more expensive. It would have to probably be a $750,000 project then.
So you'd say this is a repair to the existing system?
Yes.
It seems expensive. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Harry Ehrlich, 725 Countryside Lane. I'd like to support the award of the contract. I've been to the library a lot of times. I've managed facilities before. They have an antiquated system. It's been redesigned and worked around inside, and it needs to be redone and balance the system and upgrade it. So I support awarding the contract.
Okay, anyone else? All right, can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Support. Miranda Horace Hopkins, any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Randall.
Yes.
Hopkins.
Yes.
Van Strylen.
Yes.
DeYoung.
Yes.
Butler.
Yes.
Motion passed. Moving to the resolution number 6907, entitled Resolution Approving Plan Specifications, Form of Contract, Estimate of Cost, Receiving of Bids, and Making Award of Contract for the Pella Public Library 2025 HVAC Modifications Phase 1 project. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved. Oops.
Ms.
I'll support
Stryland,
it.
Brander, Horst. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Van Strylen.
Yes.
Randall.
Yes.
Butler.
Yes.
Hopkins.
Yes.
DeYoung.
Yes.
Motion passed. Moving to a public hearing on the hangar and apron expansion site grading project at the Pella Municipal Airport. Mike?
Oh, yes, Mr. Mayor, once again, I'd like to direct everyone's attention to the big board for the presentation on the side of it. As Mayor DeWart stated, tonight's public hearing is as far as the grading component of the apron expansion project at the Pella Municipal Airport. And as council is aware, Pella Corporation is planning on constructing their new corporate hangar on the south side of where the existing hangars, or corporate box hangars, are currently located. The apron expansion project is this highlighted area right here. Now, it is important to note, as far as tonight's public hearing, this just pertains to the grading aspect of the project. We actually intend to bid construction or the paving aspect early next spring, but equally important to note for that portion of the project, we are notified that we have received a state grant in the amount of about $360,000 for the paving portion of the project. So good news for this project overall. Well, let's go ahead. Heidi, if you could, please. Now, on August 12th, we had quite a bit of interest as far as the bid letting on this project. There was a number of bidders on the project. The lowest responsible bidder was Cushman Excavation in the amount of $200,204.20. The engineer on the project is Garden & Associates. They are recommending awarding the project to Cushman. If council were to approve this resolution tonight, we anticipate final completion on the grading portion of this project will occur on November 21st. It's important also, though, Mr. Mayor, the staff is recommending approval as well this evening.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Any written comments, Mandy?
No written comments.
Council comments, questions? Any comments from a member of the audience? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Support.
Hopkins and Stryland, any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Hopkins.
Yes.
Van Strylen.
Yes.
DeYoung.
Yes.
Randall.
Yes.
Butler.
Yes.
Motion passed. Moving to the resolution number 6908, titled Resolution Approving Plan Specifications, Form, Contract, Estimate of Cost, Receiving of Bids, and Making Award of Contract for the Hangar and Apron Expansion Site Grading Project at the Pella Municipal Airport. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Support.
Brander, Horstman, Stryland, any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Randall.
Yes.
Van Strylen.
Yes.
DeYoung.
Yes.
Butler.
Yes.
Hopkins.
Yes.
Motion passed. Moving on to a public hearing on the rezoning application for Pella Partners parcel 17406000500. Mike?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd be happy to explain this item. And as Mayor Ward stated, Pella Partners LLC has applied to rezone a parcel that's just over 13 acres in size. The rezoning request that we're considering this evening is from A1 agricultural to two-family residential, which is commonly referred to under the zoning code as R2 on this. And again, it accommodates up to two families in one housing unit on it. Now, the area that we're talking about for the 13-acre parcel is this yellow highlighted area, this yellow kind of triangle area. Idaho Drive is located right over here. The Pella Municipal Airport is right over here. So let's go ahead, please, Heidi. Now, as far as compliance with the comprehensive plan, it's important to note that the comprehensive plan targeted this area for low-density residential, which is considered R2, is still considered low-density residential under the comp plan. So for alignment from the future use land map, we believe that this rezoning does align with the city's comprehensive plan. It is important to note that the property also abuts up to R2 zoning as well. So from a zoning aspect and also from a future use land map, it aligns with the comprehensive plan from the future use land map perspective. From the zoning code, it abuts existing R2 zoning as well, so there's not an issue with spot zoning that's concerned with this request. Now, I'd like to also mention that the Planning and Zoning Commission approved this rezoning request at their July 28th meeting, and city staff is also recommending approval this evening, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you, Mike. Any written comments, Mandy?
No written comments.
Council, any questions, comments?
Is there access to that property? How are they gonna do that? Or is it the same person on all those pieces?
I don't believe it's the same person that owns those two parcels, but they'll have to work with the neighboring property owners. They may have access up further north, but that could be an issue.
Okay, anything else? Any comments from the audience?
Just a moment ago, you and want to expand the airport, and you always have said this airport is landlocked. Why are you taking and rezoning this for land that could be used for future airport purposes? Thank you.
Anyone else? I get a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Support.
DeYoung, is that Hopkins? Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
DeYoung,
Yes.
Hopkins,
Yes.
Van Strylen,
Yes.
Vanderhorst,
Yes.
Butler.
Yes.
Motion passed. Moving to the ordinance number 1076, entitled an ordinance amending the zoning ordinance of the City of Pella, Iowa, by amending the boundaries of the R2 district to include the property generally located west and northwest of the intersection of Brook Circle and Idaho Drive, and directing the zoning administrator to note the ordinance number and date of this change on the official zoning map. This is the first reading. Assume nothing to add, Mike?
You're correct, sir.
Can I get a motion for approval?
So moved. Support.
Hopkins, DeYoung, any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Hopkins,
Yes.
DeYoung,
Yes.
Vanderhorst,
Yes.
Butler,
Yes.
Van Strylen.
Yes.
Motion passed. Moving on to resolution number 6909, entitled Resolution Approving Amendment to Iowa Farm Lease with Dan Terpstra. Mike?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd be happy to explain this item. And as Mayor Ward stated, this resolution actually approves an amendment with Mr. Terpstra's farm lease for this current fiscal year. Now, considering this item, it's important to note that the lease was originally administratively approved on April 9th this year. Subsequent to this, the decision was made to go ahead with the apron expansion project at Pella Municipal Airport. So we've been in communication with Mr. Terpstra on this, as crops are currently planted on this territory. So really what we're talking about is removing a portion of the lease that was administratively approved that will be used for the Pella Corporation hangar, and also identifying potential areas that may be disturbed from Mr. Terpstra's crops this year as part of the city's construction plans. So let's go ahead, please, Heidi. Now, as far as the amendment, there's no change in the amendment. It will expire on February 28, 2026. The lease area has also been slightly modified. It was 102 acres. It's now down to 100 acres which accounts for the 2 acres that's approximately for the Pella Corporation site. The cash rent has been adjusted for the decrease in acreage as well. Now, equally important to note, when we talk about the crop damage area, Heidi, if we can go back up to the map, please. We've actually had 2 projects this year that we believe will damage the crops. One of them already has. The airport entrance road, we needed to borrow some additional fill material from this area. We disturbed Mr. Kirsch's crops to do that. And in addition, with the apron expansion project, we'll need to balance the dirt area on this now. So part of that, up to 12 acres, may be disturbed on the crop area as well. So let's go ahead, please, Heidi, let's go ahead. So as far as the crop damage area, what this lease amendment states that if we damage any of Mr. Kirsch's crops, the city will compensate him $1,100 per acre for crop damages. That's up for a maximum of 12.4 acres. That determination will be made on December 1st of this year as well. So with that, Mr. Mayor, staff is recommending approval of the farm lease amendment this evening.
All right, thank you, Mike. Can I get a motion for approval?
So moved. Support.
Hopkins, DeYoung, discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Hopkins,
Yes.
DeYoung,
Yes.
Vanderhorst,
Yes.
Butler,
Yes.
Van Strylen.
Yes.
Motion passed. Resolution number 6910, entitled Resolution of Pella City Council approving final plat of Vintage Estates, Plat 1, Pella, Iowa. Mike?
I guess, Mr. Mayor, I'd be happy to explain this item. As Mayor DeWart stated, what we're entertaining here is the final plat for Vintage Estates. It is important to note that this formally subdivides this subdivision into 22 buildable lots on it. Now, the property itself is this green highlighted area that we're talking as far as the platted area, and it's just south of Boss London Drive. And it's almost right smack dab in the middle of Boss London Golf Course as well. Now, as background on this, the purpose of this request is to transition the existing property from a housing cooperative to single-family housing units. So under this method, what the property owner is proposing is they will actually own the single-family housing units as opposed to owning shares in a cooperative. So let's go ahead, please, Heidi. Now, from a zoning standpoint, what we originally approved for this development, there's very little changes to the city's PUD on this as well. In fact, there's no additional modifications or variances proposed with this. But once again, this just formally subdivides the property into 22 buildable lots. Right now, under the PUD, it is currently located on 1 lot. Now, equally important to note, in considering the site and the seating, the Planning and Zoning Commission unanimously approved the final plat at the January 28th meeting. And city staff is recommending approval this evening as well.
All right, thank you. Can I get a motion for approval?
So moved. Support.
Van Strylen, Vanderhorst, any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Van Strylen.
Yes.
Vanderhorst.
Yes.
Butler,
Yes.
Hopkins,
Yes.
DeYoung.
Yes.
Motion passed. Resolution number 6911, entitled Resolution approving the preliminary plat for Rave subdivision.
I guess, Mr. Mayor, I'd be happy to explain this item. We have a preliminary plat that we're considering this evening from Ray Property Management. And this is for the area that's just this yellow highlighted area and orientate everyone. Boss London Drive is located right over here. The Lynx Hotel is located right across the street. It's roughly a 2.5 acre parcel this evening. And again, the purpose of this is to divide the property into a 9-lot subdivision. So let's go ahead, please, Heidi. Now, as far as the preliminary plat requirements are concerned, based on city staff's review along with our engineers this evening, we believe that the proposed preliminary plat meets the requirements of the city zoning code, also the subdivision ordinances, and it also conforms to the city's comprehensive plan. Planning and Zoning Commission made the same findings at their July 28th meeting and approved the preliminary plat, and staff is also recommending approval this evening.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Can I get a motion for approval?
So moved.
Support.
Vanderhorst, DeYoung, any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Vanderhorst.
Yes.
DeYoung.
Yes.
Butler,
Yes.
Hopkins,
Yes.
Van Strylen.
Yes.
Motion passed. Resolution number 6912, entitled Resolution accepting certificate from engineer and finding of necessity to institute emergency proceedings for emergency repair of a public improvement. Mike?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd be happy to explain this item. As Mayor DeWart stated, this resolution would do is approve the emergency proceedings to construct a stormwater outlet for the stormwater detention basin at the indoor, for the proposed It is important to note that Bob Beanstra did discuss this matter with the City Council at the August 5th meeting. Now, in essence, to explain the need for this project and why the emergency declaration is needed, the stormwater detention basin for the rec center is located right over here. The rec center would be located over here. And if you could picture all along from the planning perspective, we had anticipated that University Street would be constructed prior to the rec center being constructed. Well, in actuality, it turns out to be the opposite. The rec center is being constructed before University Street, and that's significant because when the rec center was let, the stormwater outlet pipe actually was supposed to discharge into University Street stormwater pipe that we had here. So in essence, what's being proposed is to move a portion of the stormwater system that's being constructed with the University Street extension to the Recreation Center project. This recommendation came to us from both Garden and Associates, that's the engineer on University Street, as well as Bob Beanstra, along with Stahl and Shive Hattery, as well for the rec center. The reason this emergency declaration is needed is, according to legal counsel, this was not part of the original scope of work. However, the stormwater outlet needs to be constructed, and that's why we're going through the emergency proceedings to do this as well. So once again, what we're simply doing is moving a portion of the project that was included in the University Street project to the Pella Recreation Center project, and its construction of the stormwater pipe that will start right about here and end up over here. That would be included with the University Street project. So this project cost should be revenue neutral to the city. But Heidi, let's go ahead and cover that, please. Now, if council were to approve this change order, it's in the amount of $227,000. That amount would have been had been included with the University Street project as well. So we should see a reduction in the total cost for University Street for that as well. But change order number 2, if it were approved by council, would be up to a revised construction contract amount for the Recreation Center, the amount of $30,296,245. And finally, Mr. Mayor, it is important to note that staff is recommending approval this evening.
All right, can I get a motion for approval?
So moved. Support.
Mr. Arlen Hopkins, any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Dan Stryland.
Yes.
Hopkins.
Yes.
DeYoung.
Yes.
Vanderhorst.
Yes.
Butler.
Yes.
Motion passed. Moving to resolution number 6913, entitled Resolution Approving Change Order number 2 with Stahl Construction for the Pella Indoor Recreation Aquatic Center project. Can I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Support.
Vanderhorst, DeYoung, any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Vanderhorst.
Yes.
DeYoung.
Yes.
Butler.
Yes.
Hopkins.
Yes.
Dan Stryland.
Yes.
Motion passed. Resolution number 6914, entitled Resolution Approving Project Administration Policy for the Indoor Recreation Aquatic Center project. Mike?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd be happy to explain this item, and once again, we discussed this item on August 5th, Mr. Bob Beanstra. And basically what this resolution does is it forms a project management committee for the Indoor Recreation Center. And the purpose of this is to allow small change orders for the rec center to be administratively approved with it. Now, as far as the project management committee, the leader of the committee will be Councilmember Mr. John Butler. Bob Beanstra will also serve on the committee, and the committee will also include myself. Now, it is important to note as we consider the smaller change orders for the Recreation Center, how we're defining smaller change orders could be up to the amount of $20,000. It would have to have unanimous approval by the project management committee before they were approved. And then also within the resolution, there'd be a monthly summary that would be presented to council on any change orders that would be administratively approved as well. The committee would have up to a maximum of $100,000 set aside for smaller change orders as well. So with this, Mr. Mayor, it is very similar to what we discussed on August 5th, and city staff is recommending approval this evening.
All right, can I get a motion for approval?
So moved.
Support. Vanderhorst, Hopkins, any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Vanderhorst.
Yes.
Hopkins.
Yes.
Dan Stryland.
Yes.
DeYoung.
Yes.
Butler.
Motion passed. Resolution number 6915, entitled Resolution Acknowledging the Resignation of the current city attorney and appointing Christine Stone as city attorney. Mike?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Once again, I'd like to direct everyone's attention to the big board for a presentation on this item. Now, considering this item It is important to note that Ms. Emily Duffy has accepted a position with the City of Des Moines, and as a result, she will no longer be able to be our city attorney. So I'd like to thank Emily for her service to the City of Pella this evening. What this resolution does is actually appoints Ms. Christine Stone as the city attorney. Now, Christine previously served as our city attorney from 2018 through 2024. She's very familiar with the City of Pella, and she would actually continue on Emily's term through the end of 2025. And staff is recommending approval of the resolution this evening.
Can I have a motion for approval?
Support.
Ms. Fryland, Vanderhorst, any discussion?
Just a comment. Emily, I just wanted to personally thank you. I always appreciated my ability to call you and get a crystal clear explanation to my 101 questions I usually had for you, and you will be missed.
Thank you. It's been a privilege and a pleasure, and just as much as you all love the City of Pella, I love the City of Des Moines, and so I'm very excited to join my hometown.
They're blessed to get you.
Thank you.
They are.
All right, did we vote?
No.
No. Okay. So all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Van Strylen.
Yes.
Vanderhorst.
Yes.
Felder.
Yes.
Hopkins.
Yes.
DeYoung.
Yes.
Motion passed. Can I get a motion for approval of the abstract of bills number 2181?
Move to approve and issue warrants.
Support.
Vanderhorst and Stryland, any discussion or questions?
I have a couple questions, Mr. Mayor.
Yep.
I was looking there and I see that Hy-Vee gets a rebate of $17,000 for a light retrofit. Is that for, can you help?
Yeah. What that is that's likely an energy efficiency rebate for our power supplier, Missouri River Energy System. And so that's one of the benefits that we have with working with Missouri Rivers. Anytime there's significant lighting upgrades at any one of our businesses, they're eligible for energy efficiency rebates. And so that would be my hunch, but let me check to make sure if Nate Spurgeon is on the phone.
He is on the phone. It might take just a minute to
Okay,
get him on
all
the
right.
phone. Okay, you should be unmuted.
Hi, this is Nate. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, so Mike was correct in that Missouri River supports our energy efficiency rebates. They write us a check, and we write that exact same check right over to our customer. And we're very happy to have that benefit with Missouri River. And what that does is it helps reduce our energy demand, and it actually winds up being a cost savings for us and for Missouri River Energy Services. That explain everything?
Yeah, great. Okay, another question I have is I keep seeing quite a few purchases from Chick-fil-A for the golf course, I believe. Do you know what's happening there?
I do. I'm out there almost every day.
Oh, it's not your ticket, is it?
They sell, no, they sell, the golf course sells Chick-fil-A sandwiches.
Okay, well,
To golfers.
Okay, all right. Very good. And I see we still set aside another check for it. That's part of, I'm sure it's part of the contract. but-
Yes, yeah, but most of that actually, with the Tri-Battery bill, will be paid directly by Pella Rack on that as well, so.
Okay, all right. See, we just see the bill side, we don't see the income side. We'll start seeing that. Okay, that's it.
Okay, anyone else? All right, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Vanderhorst.
Yes.
Van Strylen.
Yes.
DeYoung.
Yes.
Felder.
Yes.
Hopkins.
Yes.
Motion passed. Any council member have any other business you would like to have addressed this evening?
I just have another comment. I want to recognize the fact that we have 2 council members from Oskaloosa in the audience. And several years ago, I struck up a friendship with one of the council members. And over the years, it's been really a privilege for she and I to be able to reach across the aisle to one another and communicate directly with one another, and proving that really city government isn't an island, and it shouldn't be an island. So I thank you both for coming this evening and taking the time to learn about us. And thank you.
I lived here. I lived here back. My kids were Titus, Dave's boy, and my
Yes.
best friends. So I
Yes.
lived over here
Yeah.
for a short time. So.
But I just think it's great. I appreciate it. And the evening that you stood up and addressed council, that took a lot of courage.
I still do it, Lynn. But
Yeah, it's all good.
I appreciate the support.
Always, always.
Okay, anyone else?
I have an idea, or at least thinking about an idea that we need to know more about what happens to a citizen that comes forward with a problem or a situation that needs to be addressed and gets handed off to one of the departments, and we need a feedback loop to know something's happened. For example, the guys that came in here and talked about the handicap parking spots. Don't know if anything's happened yet. And the other one that comes to mind is like Caldwell Park Pond. Smells bad. I know we were gonna dredge it here pretty soon. But just if we had a process to keep us better informed on what's happening. Because it's really easy, there's so much going on, it's really easy to forget that somebody said something.
Especially when you need to be my age, John.
Your age. What do you think about you don't have an excuse. Not yet. So that's a thought on that. I'll have some more later on. We get down to the policy and plan.
Okay, anyone else?
And the other one that comes to mind is we had quite a presentation about Meals on Wheels recently, which is not necessarily the city's problem, but sure like to see us help solve it.
Okay, anything else? All right, any member of the public have any other business you would like to address council with this evening? If so, please come to that microphone, state your name and address, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Going on 2509 School District, on South Main, the former Pella Court building that belongs to the city. I don't see much activity there that's going on. What's the schedule on that building?
You're talking about the old daycare building up there.
Yes.
Yeah, they're working on it, but I forget the completion date.
The completion date is still, we're working with the contractor. We've granted a few unexpected items that we're working with the contractor on. We should have an update.
Would you repeat that, please?
We're working with the contractor to address a few unexpected items of the construction on there, and there likely to be a change order by the city council in the near future.
So there's no activity there now?
Not right now, there's not, so, but we're addressing it with the contractor.
And what's the schedule for completion?
It was listed for the spring of this next year, it will likely be delayed on that as well. We should have more information here soon.
Could you please bring that to our attention when you have that information?
We will do.
Thank you.
Is that gonna have any effect on the price, on the cost?
Most likely it will, because there will be a change order considerations by the council.
Evening. Todd Osterhout, 1007 West 4th Street. I'm here tonight just to thank the city of Pella. I was brought here, I'm from Norwalk originally. Many people don't know my backdrop, but I'm a fiber optic engineer. I've been doing it since the McLeod days back in the 90s. Came here to kind of spearhead Pella Fiber as we see it today. Extremely proud of you guys. Many people don't know that Pella Fiber started in the middle of a pandemic, and I remember standing over the bore head when it first went in the ground, waiting for the phone to go off, for that one phone call to say, hey, we aren't going to do this project. And so I wanted to publicly thank you guys for going forth in a time that you had to have a lot of issues going on in the backdrop. And I have worked for the City of Pella. I no longer work for the City of Pella, but I'm thankful for the time that I've had here at the city. It was about 6 weeks ago that I had brain surgery in Iowa City and ended up on disability. But I've enjoyed my time here. One of the things that I really want to mention is our people, and what Mandy and our Pella Director of Telecommunications, Joy Osley, both of them worked with me as an employee through about a 3-year process, 2 to 3 year process, leading up to my brain surgery. And it's just amazing, the city employees who donated sick hours for me, the prayers that were sent for me, and like the doctor in Norwalk says, a kind of walking miracle, really. Kind of like Pella Fiber is an amazing build, and it continues to grow. The only thing that I want you guys to think about is something that has bothered me since day one, and that is those people that attribute to this city, that live in the suburbs outside of Pella. I know when we developed the project, it was everything within the city limits, and at that time, the city has continued to grow. We see that tonight even. We're developing, we're moving out, we're expanding with new subdivisions. At some point, the city needs to consider drawing the line and saying, okay, at this point, we need to start putting fiber out to our subdivisions, those people that still affect us and help us grow our community. So, as your old project manager, I just want to say again, thank you for everything. Next week, I'm going to be heading out to Maryland, I think, to start a couple more fiber home projects. On the mapping side, I quite can't do the fiber engineering anymore. Brain doesn't quite work as good as it used to, but yeah, we're going to try to do some mapping and get them going. So again, congratulations on everything you guys have done, just staying forth and moving along. Amazing job, guys.
Thank you. Anyone else?
You want to read that? Harry Ehrlich, 725 Countryside Lane. I've got a request for a future council item, and that is to look at the growing traffic and impact of Washington Avenue west of Walmart all the way across 163 to Prairie Ridge. And the issue is bike lanes or bike traffic and pedestrian traffic across the road. If any of you were on Facebook, you might have seen recently a series of discussions of people that were concerned with this issue. Not that I'm a great Facebook aficionado, but the concern is I've been out there lately with going to different appointments, et cetera, and the traffic and the interaction, not just because of construction, but because of development from that direction out, I think warrants it. My review of this 5-year CIP doesn't show any bike trail or any widening other than the signal that's going in, the off-ramp, et cetera. There used to be a project for a signal at Fifth Field, but that's no longer in the CIP. So I would ask you to have some kind of an analysis and a discussion, maybe under policy planning, of what the plan is to deal with that, because you got 2 or 3 more residential projects coming online, as well as what's out there now, and I'm concerned that we address that. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? All right, we will move into our, we'll adjourn to policy and planning to discuss proposed formation of a recreation department. Mike?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, once again, I'd like to direct everyone's attention to the big board for a presentation on this item. Can't promise this one will be short, but we'll try to get through it in an efficient manner. What we're here to talk tonight about is the operational plan for the Pella Indoor Recreation Center on it. And specifically what's going to be proposed for council's consideration this evening is to have the recreation center operated by city staff. Now what we're proposing to do with that is right now, basically the park and rec functions are currently handled by our community services department. However, when we talked about the recreation center, there was a considerable amount of discussion on performing what we call tournament events at the rec center. I believe we had an economic analysis that was done on the indoor recreation center and forecasted up to 30 events. The economic impact to the community was between $4 to $5 million on an annual basis just for those 30 events. And there's also a considerable amount of discussion as far as tournaments at the Pella sports complex too, on the baseball and softball side as well. So if we were to look at our community services department that currently operates the city's park and rec functions, we have the community services director, and these are the functions that we currently have. What we're proposing to operate the recreation center is the creation of a recreation department. So let's go ahead, please, Heidi. And this is what's being proposed this evening, would be to separate off the recreation department, or the indoor recreation center, from the community services department. And also, the recreation department would be responsible for the outdoor pool, as well as the Pella Sports Park, as well as the city soccer complex. Now, I can safely speak when we look at both, please keep this in mind, with the rec center, the outdoor pool, as well as the sports complex. Over the last 20 years, this community is scheduled to invest upwards to $50 million in those facilities. And city staff has spent a considerable amount of time and listened to the dialogue as part of the decision-making process for the rec center. And one of the items that came back to us was strong desire to be able to do sufficient number of tournaments, not only at the rec center, but also at the sports complex. And when we considered various operating models, I'm not gonna lie to you, I was on the fence as far as having just an overall director and maybe a manager underneath that would run the rec center. But coming back to this is that $50 million number, a lot of discussion about tournaments out at the rec center. And the reality is, even if we went with the one department method and had a director over everything here, about 90% of the time, maybe not 90, but a considerable amount of the time for the director would be, as far as one of the goals would be, get the recreation center operational. Now, in looking at this, I think that model is probably satisfactory or sufficient, I'd say, if we were already operating a rec center. But the reality is we're going to be beginning operations at the rec center. And so when you look at the startup operations of the rec center, the amount of time it would take a new director to do that on the, we think, the better option, and also the strong emphasis and desire from what we heard from the elected officials to be able to do tournaments at the rec center, we think it makes sense to take a look at creating a separate department for this over that. And then also, once you consider the considerable amount of investment in public funds that the city has made both at the outdoor pool, the sports complex, and the indoor recreation center. So with that, we have the aquatics over here, you have the sports park, as well as the outdoor pool. Now, keep in mind, some of these are new positions that will be added over time, but initially it will be the recreation director, and then a separate community services director that would be over the parks, golf, and the community center as well. Now, I would also state that this is a broad overview. As we get into this and talk about details on operating the rec center, there may be some additional duties that shifts back and forth between these departments, so the adjustments may not be over on it, but this is a place that we can at least start, and it's intended to be kind of a 50,000-foot elevation looking at the operations on this. So once again, we have one department now. We're proposing two departments with this, and the intention of this is to be able to offer an enhanced level of service at the rec center, as well as the Pella Sports Complex and soccer complex. So let's go ahead, please, Heidi. Now, looking at the operations, and I would say we have a considerable amount of experience dealing with contractors at the Boss Island Golf Course. We've had the full gamut. We've had contractors out at the Boss Island Golf Course that have operated everything at the golf course. They've operated a portion of the golf course. And so we've had a considerable amount of experience. The one takeaway that we've had, and if I can just summarize it, is I think when you look at it as far as being able to maintain a city facility, I can safely say that city staff, I believe, would do a better job of maintaining a city facility than a contractor would. on it. That's been our experience at the Boss London Golf Course. Secondly, now that we've taken over the Boss London Golf Course and we've looked at the revenue growth on it, the membership growth on it, I can also safely say is I think we could do about the same level of job financially as a contractor could in operating the rec center. So the proposal this evening comes from two aspects. When you look at the rec center, that's a $35 million project on it. We want to make sure we have tournaments out there. But equally important with that is we need to be able to maintain that facility and not have any deferred maintenance at the facility. If we're looking to do that, then I'd safely say I think having it operated by our city staff is the better option. And that's city administration's recommendation on this. Second of all, when we talk about creating two departments on this, we think that we'll get a higher level candidate if this is a department head level position and attract a higher level candidate, which under the circumstances, keep in mind, we're starting up operations at the rec center. We feel that we need a higher level candidate on this as well. And again, if we had experience operating the rec center, if the rec center was operational, could it be under one director, all the operations? Sure. And that's if you had experience, but frankly, we don't. We're going to be starting operations, and so that's the need and the driving force behind tonight's recommendation. So let's go ahead, please, Heidi. I think we stated this earlier, but when we look at the proposal, keep in mind this isn't a final proposal, it's a broad level overview. As we get into the details and talk about the scheduling and bring on the rec director on this, we anticipate there may be additional adjustments and responsibilities between the two departments as well. But ultimately, the goal of this whole thing is to provide outstanding service, not only for the rec center, but if you look at other amenities within this department, but we also want to maintain our outstanding parks. We also want to keep up the quality job that's being done at the Boss London Golf Course as well. In addition, we also want to have an enhanced level of I'd say, programming at the Pella Sports Complex as well. So the goal of that is to provide an enhanced level of services, but we're also going to stay within our budgetary requirements as well. We'll touch on that here shortly as well. Let's go ahead, please, Heidi. Now, as far as the recreation department that's being proposed this evening, once again, they coordinate all the city's recreation programs. We envision this department would be in charge right now. The two main recreational programs that we have for youth recreation would be our soccer and our flag football program. They would be responsible for coordinating those programs. They'd also be responsible for the operations at the rec center, the outdoor pool, sports bar, and the soccer complex as well. So let's go ahead, please, Heidi. Now, as far as our community services department, they would be responsible for the overseeing and maintenance of facilities, programming at the Pella Community Center, the Boss London Golf Course, and the city parks. And in addition, right now, until we hire a rec director, we want to take a look at this grounds maintenance. We have outstanding grounds maintenance staff on this as well. So they'd still be responsible for the grounds maintenance at the sports park and the soccer complex. However, the programming would be scheduled by the recreation department. So there'll be a lot of communication still between these two departments. And there may be adjustments to duties. And right now, I would also like to say, in looking at this, please keep in mind that this is the initial plan. There's going to be adjustments. But unfortunately, until you hash these things out, it's difficult to make all the adjustments up front. And so we're leaving ourselves with some flexibility to make adjustments as necessary. Now, when we look at the community services director, what we've also done with this, and I'm going to state up front with the community services director, we envision in the future with that position that would be handling more city administrative items that we have. We've listed a few items that we think make sense to fall under the purview of the community services director up here. But once again, this depends on probably one of the bigger factors that we have is the candidates that we have. But even before we get to this, we're going to talk about the timeline for the community services director, and what we're proposing to do is take a look at the programming at the community center, have a good idea, actually a council approved plan of what programming we want to see at the community center. Once we have that information, we can safely say what type of candidate that we would need to have and how much of this other stuff that we listed up here that individual would have time to do as well. So I'll have a few more slides and we'll turn it over to questions from the council on this. Now, as far as the staffing on this, and this is one of these items that's a real issue at the City of Pella, it's not a real issue. We've been blessed with just outstanding employees for the city for a considerable period of time, but as council is aware, we've had a few retirements. We're going to continue to have additional retirements in the next 2 to 3 years on this, and there will be retirements in this department. One of them is one of the city's better employees that we have, and that's Brenda Ross. That's the city's business and community center manager. She's going to be retiring in February of 2026. So what our plan is this fall is to do an evaluation of current programming at the community center, reach out to stakeholders, do an evaluation, also have discussion on additional services that we can offer at the community center. And if you want to look at it just succinctly, as we plan for the community center, this is a great facility, has a lot of potential, but we're talking about upwards of a $5.5 million public investment plus another $3 million in private funds for the facility as well. That's a considerable investment from this community, and we want to make sure that we have an operational plan and we also have a firm understanding of the services that we'd like to see out of this building. Once we identify that, we feel we're going to be in a good position to recruit for a community services director, or there may be other adjustments that we can more effectively meet the city's needs or missions on that as well. So please keep that in mind. We have some flexibility with this, but the first thing we want to do is make sure that we do the evaluation of the current services in the community center as well as what we want to see with the community center. So let's go ahead, please. Now, when we talk about the budget, what we're looking at is 2 directors this year, but we also have funding for these 2 positions. Ms. Jeanette Vaughn retired in February this past year. That position is still vacant. We intend to use Jeanette's position to serve as one of these directors, and the other one would be Ms. Brenda Ross's position that we intend to, the other director. So we're not asking for additional funds for this proposed organization change this evening. We'll be within the confines of the approved budget for 2026. As far as the recreation director, if council proceeds with this plan this evening, we anticipate advertising for the position yet this August. Sometime in September and October, we will be conducting interviews, and we hope for sometime before Thanksgiving to have the new director start in the City of Pella. And I think that's going to be pretty important because when we look at the operational date of the rec center, it falls somewhere between March and July of 2027. That's less than 2 years. And if you look at that, what we're going to have to do is get all of our policy and procedures down for operating the rec center. There's a lot of logistical work with its associated with construction of the rec center on that. It's a big facility. It's a 78,000 square foot facility. We need to have an operational game plan as well. In addition, we need to make contact with the public and make sure that we understand the demand for services at the rec center. And that's important as we bring employees on and start up operations at the rec center. So there's a lot of work to be done with this, and that recreation director is someone that we really have a pressing need for right now. The community services director, our plan is let's evaluate the programming needs, because if you recall off that organization chart with that, is we also have this position sharing and doing some city administration duties that are currently being handled by our HR and city clerk department. However, depending on the scale of the programming needs, there may be adjustments. Maybe there's a better operational way of doing programming at the community center on it as well. And maybe on this, maybe we do hire a community services director, but they need more of the time to do programming at the community center. So that's going to be one of the key items that we need to understand before we advertise for this position. But assuming that we can get this evaluation done in September, we anticipate advertising for that position in October, and realistically, the position would start in January, about a month before Brenda would retire, would be the goal on that. So with that, Heidi, do we have any more slides left? Okay. That concludes our presentation. Mayor, we know that was a lot to cover. We'd be more than happy to answer any questions the council may have on this item.
All right. Thoughts, comments?
Makes a lot of sense. It really does. I'm in support.
The thing that stood out to me is just having someone whose only job, their primary focus is engaging with lining up and scheduling tournaments, basically revenue.
Yep.
Somebody who it's not one of their responsibilities or split it, but it's actually they're out there working to generate revenue.
Yep, almost like a development
Yep,
director.
exactly.
I love that.
It's not a very part-time job, it's
Yeah.
a lot of organization.
I think it's important that we get that position filled as soon as possible.
Yep.
Because there's a lot of planning goes on well in advance for tournaments.
It's not gonna hire somebody and have a tournament next week.
We need to be prepared to hit the ground running.
When it comes to community services, and a revamped facility, I'd like us to take a look at what more we can do for seniors.
I agree with that. I agree.
Compared to what my sister-in-law has available in a Chicago suburb, why, we don't even scratch the surface.
Maybe we could even run Meals on Wheels for that facility, to your point. Yep, I like it.
Sounds like there's support for the idea.
Okay.
It's up to you to execute.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Anything else? I know you usually put up there what we're gonna talk about. I don't know if there's anything tonight.
That's it for tonight. As far as upcoming items, we anticipate Pella Dog Park will resume discussions on that in September of this year. We also had to delay the Plymouth Park tennis court projects that'll be addressed most likely in early September. And in addition, we anticipate that we'll be talking about stormwater management program, and it was mentioned earlier about Caldwell Park. That's currently in the city's CIP item that we have. We anticipate that that would be a project that we want to associate with the potential stormwater management program as well. More to come on that. And we should have an update on the lead service lines as well. We're hoping to have that discussion after there's some guidance at the federal level for the council. Maybe for members of the public that aren't aware of this, as far as the mandate to replace all lead service lines in your community within the next 10 years, that is being litigated or being challenged by the American Water Works Association. Specifically, what the challenge is once you get outside the service line area out of the public right of way, there is a discussion or uncertainty if the city has functional control over that service line and can even mandate it to be replaced. That will be decided here soon, and we're hoping as soon as there's clear direction on that, we'll have a better handle on this mandate, and that's what we're waiting for. So,
A couple of items. I got another call on stormwater up on Maple, 16 Maple. Said the drain there was not sufficient to haul water away. And another thing I noticed, I was looking at the city map, the boundaries of the city, and the parking lot at the sports park is not in the city limits.
that's correct.
And why not? Because we own the property south of there.
Yeah, we had it on the GIS. The reason why we didn't take in all the property out there is kind of a mismatch on as far as city property, county property out there. And what the goal was is ultimately when there's more enhanced levels, like rec centers come along, there's gonna be a need to have the city have functional control over Old Highway 163. Unfortunately, under Iowa law and annexation, doing involuntary annexations, they're not necessarily easy, and generally what cities rely on is a rule that's called an 80-20 non-consenting annexation, which means if you own 80% of the land area, you can take up to 20% of the property owners non-consenting. The reason why we haven't annexed that area into the city is we may need to perform an annexation on the eastern side of the community to be able to take in any type of residential properties that butt up on Old Highway 163. And so we're saving those 40 acres that we don't currently have within the city to be able to potentially use on an 80-20 annexation. More to come on that, so, but that's the reason why.
Okay, well, it just, since we own those two parcels south of that line, and the upshot, or it came to my attention was when a person wanted to put their food truck in the parking lot to service or sell food or provide food to his Little League team, he has to get a county permit, not a city permit. So it's like, wow, okay, so, and then how we coming on the comprehensive plan?
Comprehensive plan, actually I'm gonna ask our planning and zoning director, Jerry Vitus, to give an update to council on the plan.
Yes, the comprehensive plan is well underway. The most exciting part is we are going to go into our public participation segment. This is where the consultant has really tabulated a lot of economic data, a lot of traffic calculations, some input, done some demographics, some financial institution stuff. And what they're gonna do now is start getting ready to take public comment, because the most important part of a comprehensive plan for any community is what the citizens want. So we're gonna start rolling that out. We're gonna hit the farmer's market downtown. We're gonna hit Fat Food Fridays. We're gonna also hit we're gonna hold a public workshop in the Memorial Building or the Community Center. We haven't decided which one yet. These are coming up in the next few weeks. And then once we get that, we'll have a better wrap around the concept and the plan. And then what we want to do, probably in October, November, is hold a joint session here with City Council and the consultant in a policy planning session where they can give a more formal update to the council, and we'll have everybody be able to hear that listening, and that will be able to give you actual data of what we have tabulated. So that's what we're doing this fall. And then once that happens, we'll be able to move into the hard land use and mapping technologies and probably be ready in spring to come back with some formal hearings for adoption.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. And then, as Harry Ehrlich mentioned about pedestrians getting across that bridge, we have a bridge. I don't know what it's gonna take. I have no idea what it was gonna cost to bring that bridge up to whatever standard is out there, but does it have to have a cage all the way around it so you can't throw stuff off of it on 163? You know, and then we ought to be taking our sidewalk around behind Quickstar and bring it up to Washington Street. So,
All very good ideas. In fact, that kind of ties into Jerry's comprehensive plan, because we're working with the consultant. One of the aspects of the comprehensive plan is to look at the city's park and rec department and functions and forecast out the needs for community parks within the next 20 years. On that, we're going to be looking at the West Side Trail. We call it the West Side Trail, and probably the bridge aspect is one aspect, but also getting on the western side down to the railroad bridge is probably the real issue in the debate on the route as well. So again, that's going to be looked at with the comprehensive plan. We're actually hoping to have a preliminary route with the plan, and that's probably the first step. Is once it's identified in the comprehensive plan, as long as it's a likely route from that standpoint, then we'll be able to have something to work with, at least start with.
all right, thank you.
Okay, anything else?
Is there something, all of this opportunity for us to look at the UTV issue? We talked about that a couple of years ago, and I think we're getting to the point where we really need to address that.
Yeah, the UTVs, that's scheduled for September 2nd, and we're also going to be having a request from a council member to also, at the same meeting, talk about electric scooters and some other, I'd say, items that are currently operating on the street. So we've got those all bundled together, and that's planned for September 2nd.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, besides that email that came to all of us, I think I've been tapped on the shoulder a few more times with not just adults, but little kids buzzing all over the place. I had somebody zip right in front of me. My car had no look as to what, there were 2 or 3 of them. So EVs, aren't all such a great thing sometimes with parents who haven't shown them how to ride them.
Okay. All right, with that, do I have a motion entering a closed session pursuant to Iowa Code Chapter 21.5, Paragraph 1C to discuss strategy with counsel on matters that are presently in litigation or where litigation is imminent, where its disclosure would likely to prejudice or disadvantage the position of the governmental body in that litigation.
So moved.
Support. Lynn. Branderhorst Hopkins. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Branderhorst?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
Van Strylen?
Yes.
DeYoung?
Yes.
Butler?
Yes.
Motion passed. So we're moving into closed session. Our agenda we're done with, so I'm going to ask all of you to vacate this room. If you have a desire to come back when we will go back to closed session or open session for a minute. Anybody's out there waiting for us, so I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Support.
Hopkins and Strylen, all in favor, please say yes. Opposed, no. Mandy, please call the roll.
Hopkins?
Yes.
Van Strylen?
Yes.
DeYoung?
Yes.
Branderhorst?
Yes.
Butler?
Motion passed. We are